agree water would probably be one of the main issues that's facing New Zealand at the moment.
It is. It just seems to be increasingly dominating the central stage of life, that and housing in certain parts of the country. But water, ultimately much more valuable than oil. It's going to be there forever, we hope. We just have to manage it in a sustainable way. And some of the zone committees in Canterbury have been considering storage for replenishing the aquifers, because the aquifers are apparently quite depleted over much of central Canterbury, the Selwyn area particularly, I think. And storage is very good if you can do that, if you can capture peak flows of rivers and store on land, then it's available. The first thing I did when I became MP for Rangiora was to receive a phone call from a Waipara farmer who proposed, was working and had for years on a scheme for irrigation there. It became the Glenmark scheme. It's been a terrific boon to the whole Waipara area. It's transformed the economy there, the type of activities that take place, and so storage is great. But the committee's also considering charging, and I'm blessed if I know how that can be done, because you're not allowed to charge for oxygen. Why on earth should you charge for something that comes from the sky? You can't. Councils can charge for treatment of water. They can charge for the pipes that carry the water, all of those sort of things, but not for water itself. Once you enter into that, you enter into all sorts of issues over ownership, and I just don't think as a community we want to go there.
That would be a can of worms, wouldn't it?
Well,
really?
It would be several cans of worms, I think, because you'd be into, it's not like the treaty settlement, say, for offshore fisheries, where Maori were given a percentage, 20%, I think, and there was a Sea Lords deal as well. It's not like that. It's much more fundamental to life than offshore fishing, I'm afraid. And so charging, I think, is out. But storage, if you can capture the off-peak flows in the wintertime when there's not so much evaporation of water, then that would be useful. And exports have to be a part of the overall picture as well, I think.
Yeah, because that's another one that's reared its head and has segregated the population.
Yeah, there's a bunch of business people on the West Coast who've developed this proposal. They did 25 years ago. They put it, and they got their first consents, but nothing much has happened until recently. I personally don't see a problem with water falling from the sky, forming snow, forming glaciers, melting, and then exporting the stuff. There's no more water or less water in the world now than there was tens of millions of years ago. And so if we can use something which is eternally renewable, then that to me is acceptable, but I think the community should at least exercise some levy from it, so that the country as a whole benefits from that asset.
Look at Ashburton. Ashburton went up in arms. They were marching in the street because there was a war and it was going to be exporting water. Exports, imports, it means that we get fuel at a cheaper level.
Well, we could, yes. That's true. I
know there was I
don't want to get into Ashburton local politics, Rob, but I think there were a lot of political issues running there, and there were some missteps by the incumbents at that time, and I think they were punished in the elections for that. So there are certain areas where you've got to be careful. It was council land, I think, wasn't it? And so, local. Yeah, all politics is local, as a famous speaker Tip O'Neill said in the United States. And I had enough to do with Ashburton internal politics at one stage. No more now. At the moment, anyhow.
Exactly. You keep your head down. Is water likely to become a major issue over the election?
I suspect it will be. Certainly some of the opposition parties will be campaigning on improvements of water quality. The current government has adjusted the criteria by which it determines whether swimmers or waterways are swimmable or available for recreational use, and I think that people think there's a bit of jiggery-pokery going on there. Shifting the goalposts, and so I think there will be concentration on issues of the pollution of waterways and the need to improve them, and to improve them quickly, not to set these ridiculous figures like getting rid of all pests by 2050. Well, we're all going to be dead by 2050, and somebody's going to say, oh, well, it was unrealistic, let's look at things which are achievable, key performance indicators, we can get them done quickly.
Yeah. We've got an election looming, and the other thing would seem to be immigration and housing, but mainly focused on Auckland.
Yes, I think Auckland's the main the main concern. I was Minister of Immigration and introduced the policy which has created New Zealand's multicultural society in 1986, so I'm very much in favour of immigration. But the Resource Management Act, which has nothing to do with immigration, but it has these wonderful words that things should be done in a way and at a rate that communities can manage. And at the moment, New Zealand is having too many people come here for the ability of the community to sustain land development, housing, construction, especially with a lot of construction going on in Christchurch. That means less company resources available for other parts of the country, and Auckland is really suffering at the moment. And the thing that concerns me is that governments always have the power to tweak immigration policy, keep it non-racial, keep it non-discriminatory, but tweak the thresholds by which people can come in until things settle down a bit. I think the danger is that as a property-owning democracy, New Zealand, we're in danger of having a class which of people who forever will be excluded from property ownership, and I'm not sure that's such a clever thing for us to be doing. So I hope parties concentrate on that, all parties, including the incumbent government. It's their turn at election time to defend, but also to propose new policies.
Yes, I think it's almost a shame, though, that it becomes a political football instead of everybody saying, okay, let's get in here and let's make it happen. If we all join forces, it will.
That's true, but let's look at Obamacare. They should all join forces to fix that too. But no, we do have parties. They are all legitimate. They all represent different parts of the whole, and so they'll agree on many things, but they'll contest ideas on other things, and then let the punters choose.
Exactly. Briefly, trading with Britain.
Well, some people think that we should, get back into sort of full-blown trading relationship. Britain is the supplicant at the moment. It's going all around the world to India, wants to trade with India. India says yes, but migration from India to Britain, please.
Always a trade-off.
Not so popular over there. We've managed our transformation from a country where 90+% of our exports went to Britain to just 5% today. We don't want to lose that diversity in our export markets, because that has helped build this very nice economy we've got now. So yes, be open to Britain, but remember that Britain's still part of the European Union, but the European Union is nearly 500 million people, much bigger than Britain, and it's much more advantageous for us to have a free trade agreement there, and also maybe with Britain as well. But don't over promote it.
Kerry, thank you very much indeed.